All right. So this is a really quick introduction. I thought I should probably do something at the beginning of this video so you understand what's happening. So I'm just an old hack that comes out into this shitty little shed from time to time and messes about with cars, mostly my own cars. But this car next to me actually belongs to a mate of mine that I decided to help out. It sat for a while. It needed a lot of work to get it back on the road, to get it back to a point where we can start, or he can start taking on these cruises, these cars and coffee, that kind of thing. But he didn't really have the budget to. The budget wasn't there to send it to one of these restoration shops, panel shops, or whatever, because it's not cheap to do this kind of work. And I get why they charge. I get why they charge what they charge, because they've got so many overheads. You've got insurance, and not only that, you're also paying. It's hard to explain. You're also paying for their experience. They've been doing this for a long time. They've clocked up a lot of experience when restoring these sort of cars. So that's what you're paying for. But unfortunately, not everyone can afford that. So we decided to. Well, I've decided to help him out and just try and do a very basic, cheap tidy up and see how we go. Unfortunately, we had to take it a little bit further than what we had anticipated. It turns out it's pretty rough, but if we weren't doing this, then this car would just be sitting in a driveway under a cover, and who knows when it would be back on the road again. Now remember, I'm just a hack and I'm trying to do shit cheap. But during all this, the whole time I've been messing about with this, I've taken quite a lot of footage, and I thought that the footage I take, I'll send directly to the owner of the car, and it's just gives him something to watch, gives me something to do. And I thought I might just condense a lot of this footage, try and cut out a lot of me just crapping on and explaining what I'm doing and why I'm doing it for his benefit. Cut a lot of all that bullshit out and just condense it into fairly short videos, and we can now throw it out there and just kind of document this El Cheapo kind of tidy up. All right, so that's over with. That wasn't awkward at all. Let's get on with it. So back again. I've just forgot to mention the audio isn't great in this first video. It will improve in the next video, but it's pretty rough. Pretty rough in this one, but it does improve eventually. So here we go. It's in the shed. Not a huge budget. Just going to try and tidy her up a bit. It's not as clean as I remember. I'm going to get rid of this boot. This was unexpected. We knew the boot had paint, but a bit of body filler. It's covered a bit more there. It's a fairly budget friendly tidy up, so I can't go too crazy on it. But get everything gapped up, get the stainless out of the way. Reef's not looking great. So here we go. I'm gonna get this trim off the car, stainless ring lily glass. So we need to tackle the new boot lid. But before we do, I want to see if I can get these tail lights fitting a little bit better than what they are. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but we'll play around with it. If I come over this side, I mean, they're not bad, but I have to try and stay in the mindset of this is just a fairly quick, I wouldn't say quick, but it's not a big dial phone job. Tail lights are out. Got a little bit of fuckery going on here. This is quite thick. I wonder if this was stopping it from closing this gap. I mean, it didn't line up particularly great here either. Passenger side lined up a lot better. We don't have that silicone or whatever it is, but can't really see in the camera, but this edge rolls around a lot. So even though that lines up all right, I'm going to figure something out with that. Yeah, but it's on, well, yeah. Remove some of the trims so I could get this out, because There's a pretty big gap here. This has been off at some stage. When they put it back on, it was sitting too high. So I got that sorted. Still have to do something about the gap from the trim to the boot. I want to close that up a little bit. We've pumped this section of the boot out because this was sitting in quite a ways. I'll actually have it pretty close to where we want it, and we have a clean transition up here. If we come to the driver's side, we are looking pretty good. Had to do the same here, pump this out, and we have a clean transition between the boot and the recorder up here. So we've added material along this edge, still needs a bit of a touch up here and there, a bit of a clean up. So added material there, filed that down. We now have a pretty good gap. This is pretty close to where we want it, but you can see how much it tightens up around the tail light. You can kind of see just how far this tail light is sitting into this direction. Where if we look at the passenger side, you can see this is pretty much spot on. So after a bit of messing about, we've got this pretty well where we want it. This is a new problem we got. So that's sticking it a long way. Looks like I've got some rebuilding to do. So getting this tail light to fit, this section here we've had to move forward. This section up here I've had to completely cut out and remake. The idea was just to unpick all this, well, unpick the inner support panel and work on it that way. The inner support panel has been completely welded onto this rear quarter section. So it's got MIG welds everywhere, it's got a whole heap of brazing, it's just an absolute mess. Anyway, I thought I was finished, and then I realised that these fucking trims again, they don't actually come up to the back of this tail light. They finish about here. So I didn't worry about down here so much. I just worked from like here up and tried to get this to look somewhat respectable. It's close enough. And now I've realised that I need to get this to fit a little bit better as well. So moving on, time for some rust repairs in the corner of this boot so I can finish sorting out the gaps. So we've cut it out. Might also notice we're able to turn the skin this side, not so much, because we've actually had to cut that back. We'll shave that back to a point where we split the skin to try and sort this gap out. We'll sort that out a little bit later. You'll see what I mean. So that's sorted. Well, almost. We'll get back to that shortly. Nearly finished. But we have another area of rust we need to cut out, put in a new piece. So that area is cut out, we're good to go. New piece is all prepped up, ready to go in. You can see there's a bit of the outer skin there where I've unpicked it. I couldn't save, it was just a little bit too far gone. That's done. Still needs some tidying up. It's hard for me to work on this angle, the boot being bolted up, because issues with my back. So I'm going to leave it like that for now, and I'll do the clean-up stage once it's on the panel stand. But at least that rust is sorted. Of course. All right. Guess we're doing this side. That's this corner cut out, and you can see everything's been severed up, treated and sealed. And that rust repair section is done. So moving on to finishing up the gaps on the passenger side. 90% of the gaps sorted out on this passenger side. The rear quarter of the boot gap. Now we're moving on to sorting this tail light out. Just ignore what's going on here. So we have after all that messing about, we have a much cleaner transition from the rear quarter to that tail light on the driver's side. So we're going to have to work something out there. And we also need to get this to fit a little bit better. It should be easier than the other side. This looks all factory behind here, so this shouldn't be a huge job. We still need to sort this little curved section out as well too, because the other side again has a really nice transition into the edge of this tail light. So we need to match the passenger side. And I'm also taking out the factory lead. I thought about letting it again, but I'm going to see if I can do it without the lead. And I mean, there's no lead in the other side. Not sure what to do. I want to do it. I really want to do it the quickest way possible, but we'll see. Turns out that headlight, it's been a long day. That tail light wasn't positioned properly. It's actually worse now that I've squared everything up. Just put the torch on that. I'll give you a better idea. So that's looking a little bit better. I ended up putting a piece in. That's the piece that I ended up unpicking. Put a piece in, or made a piece up, put it in, welded it obviously, plug welded it at the back. We don't have that big dip in that we had before, and we've got a much nicer transition. It was a little bit loose up here, but I'm going to see what happens when I get some primer on it. Boot caps are sorted. There's a bit of an optical illusion going on the passenger side there, but I can assure you they are sorted, all gapped, checked with the feeler gauge. That's just about finished, except for the top of the boot. Still waiting on what we're going to do with that. Tail lights are in and finished, and pretty close to where we want them. Passenger side, we're backlit. We've still got some weird shadows going on, but I can assure you that they are pretty much exactly where we want them. Today's job, get rid of all the premium stuff, this being a Kingswood and all, and fix the lock. So the new boot lock is in, all the little mushrooms for the prem boot strip runs across the back of this boot, removed all of them, welded up the two holes at either corner of the boot. It turns out the holes for the badge there, they're the same between a prem and a Kingswood, so leaving them. Not worried about that just yet. Now we're tackling the gap from the rear glass to the boot. So this boot's been on and off the car quite a few times over the last few days. We're pretty close now. I'm about to pull it off again, and then hopefully finalise filing down a couple of spots. I mean, it looks rough, pretty rough at the moment, but it's not that far off. It's, again, close enough is good enough. I've been with our assistant over the last couple of days, so the boot's kind of just been sitting here, still working on this gap, getting it to be somewhat respectable. It's actually pretty close. I need to put it back on, do a little bit of measuring, pull it back off, shave down again. Hopefully we'll be done. Because this boot's been stuck here for a couple of days, I started stripping the paint and getting all this metal prepped up. So we got this area's done. It's fairly clean, a little bit more on the bottom there. Can't touch this side yet because I'm using this to line the boot up when it goes back on, just to make sure that we're definitely in the exact same spot. So I'm hoping, well, today's task anyway, is to get all of this to come up, match this side, boots back on. I'm so sick of fucking taking this thing on and off and on and off. So you can see we've got it cleaned up, except for along the edges. Got one dent to sort out. Not that concerned about that because we're working on gaps. So it's pretty close from the glass from that trim there to the boot itself. Just got a little bit of file work to go. Clean it up in a couple of spots. Hopefully we're done. So I'm going to mark all that out again, take it off, file it. So this boot's been on and off a couple of times. That gap is pretty well sorted. And the passenger side is looking pretty good too. So moving on, started stripping this rear quarter. We're looking at a few issues on this side. We've got the body filler up here, which I think I mentioned in a previous recording. You can see the grind, or I don't know if you can see in camera or not, but low grinding going on here. So that's actually pretty heavy. We're trying to tidy this up, but not go too crazy with the hours into it. How wavy this recorder is, it's going to take a lot of work getting it to a point where a skim filler will sort it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bring up some of these low spots, and I think I can get a dolly up under here and maybe slap that up a little bit just to give you a better idea. That's not great. Right, we're into the night. I decided to spend the day just sorting this out, and it's a lot better than it was when we've gone from pretty heavy body filler to this just needing a light skim now. Still on the passenger side recorder. Got a little bit of rust just poking through. Doesn't look like much. It's not all the way through yet, as far as I can tell. We don't know what's going on behind that, so that has to come out. The annoying part is really close to the lead join between the dog leg and the recorder. So I've got to keep the heat down. Don't really want to have to melt that out and then re-lead it. So it's all prepped up, ready for the new piece to go in. I probably should have rounded those corners off, but oh, got lazy. So that's in, finished. Another rust repair done. Skim of filler and we should be good. Came out alright. Could do with a bit of a file, but it's good enough. Moving on. I'm waiting on. I had to order another shrinking disc because mine's got a slight warp to it, so I can't really finish the top of that recorder. That still needs a lot of work. Very wavy. So moving forward, we're going to look at this dog leg and see what's going on here. So I already found a bit of filler down in here, but the problem is this sticks out a long way. It looks shit. I wouldn't be surprised if this has had a rust repair at some stage. You can also see it's bulging in a couple of spots. So I'm going to strip it down and see what it looks like. Not liking the looks of this. Got that green primer again that we found on the recorder. And behind the taillight stuff, I guess it's a primer. Okay, yeah, it'd have to be a primer. Nice. I was expecting a repair. I was not expecting that. Alright, well, I mean, they're half decent. Well, maybe not. Looks like he missed on a couple of the worlds there. At least I used a galvanized piece, I guess. Yeah. Let's slowly pick this out and see what they've tried to do. Wow, I know what they've tried to do. Gorgeous. Lovely, lovely stuff. That's how you do it. Well, if the objective was to make it much, much worse in the long run, in Nova, because all that's done is trap a whole heap of moisture behind that patch panel that is welded on top of the existing panel. Now, I don't know how long it's been on there, but that's the end result. Okay, the gift that just keeps on giving. Got some, structural shit to do. And then found this. This shit just doesn't end. Still cutting away, working out exactly what I want to do. Looks a bit better. Third one today. Fucker. This shit's never a good sign. Starting to pull this front guard off so I can get the door gap sorted. Get into that a bit later. We've got a lot of rust dropping out. It's even worse at the front. I can almost guarantee that radiator support panel's just fucked. I mean, even getting these mud flaps off, I've had to cut the tops off of those screws because it's just seized in. I mean, that's what happens when a car sits out in the elements for years, especially if it's parked on grass or even that, whatever it's called, that shitty compact. Just holds moisture. It ends up being drawn up into the car, and same with the nose cone. Trying to get a nose cone off, it's a fucking nightmare. Everything's just seized on this thing. So guard's off. My first thought was, that's an awful lot of accumulated rust for not much damage. Found the problem. Okay, yeah. So got the doors on and lined up. We've got, I know you can't tell in the camera, but got a pretty good transition from the bottom of the doors to the sill panel. The gap itself needs a little bit of work still, but there's not much we can do about that because of, once again, keeping these trims where they need to be, trying to keep them straight. The gap between the two doors, close, a little bit tight at the top and a little bit tight at the bottom. Rest of it's really good. Still got this mess up here to deal with, but that's not the reason for sorting these doors out. The main reason was now I can get on and finish up this dog leg, so get that repair done. And you can see just how close that rear door sits to that dog leg, so you're going to have to do a bit of work there. Working on this dog leg again. I've got the film before. We've already got all the structure and shit sorted out. So before we tackle that, I wanted to sort this gap out, which is pretty close. We have a really good transition from the door to the dog leg. Had to knock this in a little bit. See, this actual door from here down is already dead straight, so there's no bringing this out to get that transition. So from the blue line down, it's still sticking out a bit. I'm not going to be able to move that. Now we're set to finally fill all this in, unpick that, make up a piece, fold the edge, usual story. And once that's in, I can double check, make sure we have a decent gap here as well, and we're done. So that dog leg repair is done. I did have to manipulate it a little bit. So from about here-ish down, this whole section kind of popped out a bit, so knocked all that in. We now have a really nice transition from the door to the dog leg all the way down to the lower dog leg. I've also finished the gap, so we have a nice consistent gap. It's pretty much the same as a boot everywhere else in the car, so hopefully happy with that. Today was supposed to be epoxy day. Just start sealing a few things up because I've got other things I want to move on to, but my compressor switch just shut itself. So yeah, telling you, this is doing my head in. Every time I take a video, the gap down the bottom of this dog leg to the door looks like it's tight. I'm telling you, it's not. It's spot on. Feeler gauge doesn't lie, and it looks fine to me. It's just got, I don't know. It's just something to do with shadows in this camera. It's fucking pissing me off.